Hello, hello. It's 8 o'clock and it's Wednesday, so it's time for my weekly Facebook Live. I just want to see if there's anyone here. Um, just let me give you some practical information because I'm streaming live on our Facebook page and also in our group Back to Basics. So if you're watching from the group, you have to check now what it says in your Facebook. If you're watching from the group, you just need to know that you're absolutely welcome to watch, but you're not able to ask any questions. If you write any questions in the comments and you are in the group, I won't see them. You have to move yourself here to the main Facebook page for Nordic Dog Trainer. Okay. So I see people in the chat already in the comments. We have LJ, we have Jill in Wales and Justina. If you tell me where you are as well, I'll be very happy because I'm just a curious person. I am Lisbeth. I'm the founder of Nordic Dog Trainer and I am in Oslo, Norway, or just outside Oslo, an hour outside Oslo to be precise. And tonight I want to talk about stress in dogs. Actually, I want to talk about something that is one of the most common causes of problem behavior that we are not aware of. So when I asked, the name of this Facebook Live is actually Understanding Your Dog's Stress. And then it's a question, are you missing the signs? And the thing is that I think we are, just because we don't have the knowledge of what to look for. So we are definitely missing the signs. I was missing the signs before I started learning about stress in dogs. I missed the signs because I didn't know about it. So it's a matter of knowledge. So that's why this is so important. And I know whenever I do a live or a webinar or anything about stress in dogs, a lot of people are not watching because they don't believe it is a problem that their dog has. Yet it is. So I want you to listen carefully to this Facebook Live tonight and also maybe even share it on your own Facebook so that more people can learn about this, so that they are aware of it. And when you're aware of this, the thing is that it makes it so much easier for you as a dog owner to actually help your dog. Not only to help your dog, but help yourself. Because stress increases the likelihood of problem behavior in your dog. And yesterday, when I was thinking about what topic to talk about tonight, I thought to myself, imagine if all dog owners knew this and knew the signs of stress, knew what to look for. Imagine we would be out of a job, if you're a dog behavior specialist, you would have a lot less customers, which is, it's crazy to say, but that's a good thing. We can find other things to do. So, it's not ideal to earn, your living on other people's problems anyway. So, the main goal is to help you, dog owners, so that you don't need any help from others. You don't need to pay for anything from others because you can sort it out yourself. But then you have to have some basic knowledge, which unfortunately we don't learn. First of all, in a lot of puppy books, this should be, in every puppy book, and also in puppy courses, any kind of puppy activities, certainly adolescent dog activities as well. So I'm going to talk about this in a easy and to understand way to explain to you what to look for and how we can do something about it. So in the meantime, I see there's a lot of people on here tonight, which I love. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. We have Poland, we have Amsterdam, Athens, Buonasera from Italy, and Wilma looks cozy. Yes, she knows exactly what she wants. um, and Maria is telling us that her little rescue girl has a lot of stress. Yes, and yesterday, the thing is that yesterday I watched a program on TV about stress in humans, um, which I find interesting because I don't know about you, but I certainly know the feeling of being stressed myself, and it's really a common problem. It's a common illness amongst humans today. I'm not the only one who has, I don't know what you call it in English, I always forget, but if you translate the Norwegian into English, we say hitting the wall, when we kind of, are on sick leave and we can't really work anymore. It happened to me um, 15 years ago. 15 years ago. That's part of why I started Nordic Dog Trainer. I had to find another kind of job because my body just couldn't handle the other job that I had. Also due to other other illnesses. If you're new to this, I don't know. I'm very open about it. But in 2006, I actually had a stroke when I was 36 years old. I had a brain hemorrhage, so because of that, I had to do some changes in my life. And later, after that, I've had not one, but two and three heart attacks. So I have to take, you know, some active choices in my life to be able to work as much as I do. Same thing with you. And the reason why I'm talking about myself now and humans is that stress and what happens inside, physically inside our bodies, is very similar to what happens in dogs. It's exactly the same. So, back to the documentary yesterday. It was a Swedish documentary about stress in humans. And, the stories about humans not catching up with the modern times that is actually making us sick. That some of us are not able to handle the stress of 2020 living, 2025, whatever, 2000 something, that our human bodies and certainly dogs have not, advanced with times, the same speed as our culture and what we do. So, for example, the information flow we are getting from the internet today versus 10 years ago is extremely different, and that can actually make us ill. Because the thing is that our bodies are made for the hunting periods where we're supposed to be stressed. First of all, stress is a natural behavior. Stress is good. Stress is actually what makes us react when something is wrong. So now I'm talking about dogs and humans. So if there is a fire and you notice the smell of a fire or the smoke or something, your body reacts and you escape. If you feel threatened by someone or something, you will most likely escape. You can also freeze. There are different ways our body reacts. Same thing with dogs. And also I want to add that stress is also a positive thing. What happens inside our body physically, physiologically, is the same thing. It's the first adrenaline that goes up, and adrenaline stays up for very short and then it goes down. So if you're, for example, driving or riding a bicycle or even a pedestrian and you get a scare in the traffic, then your adrenaline goes up really quickly and you can feel it. I'm sure you've all been there where you can actually hear your own heartbeat, right? It's the stress hormones in your body reacting on something. Also, if they call you from the lottery telling you on the phone that you won €1 million or dollars, whatever it is, that you won a lot of money, your stress hormones will go up immediately. You get a physical reaction in your body also when you're extremely surprised or happy. So it's not all bad things happening. The problem is that if our body experiences this way too much, and our body are not able to restitute, so to rest in between those stressful moments, that's when we can start seeing a problem. So when we apply this to dogs, what I see now, I'm old enough to actually say that it's kind of cool. I'm not particularly fond of the idea of aging, to be honest. I wish I was like 30 my whole life and my life was like 300 years. But, you know, the good thing about, being a grown up is that you can actually say that you got some experience. And from my experience, what we do with our dogs today versus 20, 30 years ago is a lot different. Same thing as we do to ourselves, because we want to be leading active lives, and we do a lot of things with our children and with our dogs. So there's a lot going on in a dog's life as well. You could be doing agility trainings or training for whatever it is, of dog sports, going for long walks, maybe even running with your dog, doing all sorts of physical activity. Maybe there is a lot of socialization going on. Maybe you take your dog into dog parks several times a week or maybe even daily. All of these things can be stressful to your dog. And if you don't let your dog, and especially puppies, especially, they're very sensitive to this stress. They need to rest. They need to calm down. It's like if you and I go out, not go out, but if you go somewhere for a weekend, somewhere very nice, you go with a bunch of your best friends, you have a great time, you had a good weekend. But if you're back to work and have a full week of work the next week, you didn't have that weekend to rest. Your body still needs to rest. I hope you understand my point, because it's important to say. Because a lot of people think that their dogs are not stressed because they don't do anything bad with the dogs. But that's not the issue here. It's how much you do things and what they experience. And of course, some dogs and people, they can cope with it. Some people cope with stress better than others. And if you're trained to cope more with stress, so working dogs, for example, police dogs and so on, they might be more resistant to being stressed than a family dog who lives, on the countryside and very rarely, experience new things. So what we need to do is to help our dogs becoming, how can I say that without being misunderstood, used to stress, but the right way. So practically what that means is that when you get a puppy, you definitely should socialize your puppy. You should, take your puppies to new places and so on, but not everything in one day or 1 week. Just a few years ago, we got this long sheets of things that, as a puppy owner, you should have your dog, your puppy, walk on, X amount of different surfaces, and experience X amount of different new places and X amount of new people in a very, very short time. It didn't allow them to rest in between and to actually digest all the impressions that they've got when they went to a new place and met new people and walked on new surfaces. Okay, so what are the signs that your dog is stressed? The signs is very often what we call the problem behavior. So any excessive behavior. So a lot of jumping, a lot of barking, a lot of pulling on lead. How much does your dog sleep and rest? Do you know that? Do you know how many hours your dog is supposed to sleep and rest during 24 hours? Did you know that an 8-week-old puppy is very likely to need about 20 hours of rest and sleep during a day? Up till they're 9 months old, they even need up to 16 or 18 hours a day. And this is, of course, individual, and it also depends on the age of the dog and so on. But first of all, we have to make sure that our dogs, just like ourselves, get good quality rest and sleep. So if you have a dog that you see is stressed, and how you see that your dog is stressed is a change of behavior to being a little bit more of everything, or a lot of everything. But you can see the subtle signs. Those are your dog. Maybe your dog was begging at the table. Maybe now it's just begging more, being more intense. Maybe he's starting to pee inside. Maybe he needs to go out during nighttime. And that didn't happen before. Maybe that's a new behavior. Maybe more barking, maybe more faster reactions in your dog. All of these kind of things that we look on as a problem behavior, those are very often signs of stress, long-term stress. Now, okay. If it's really over a long period of time, you can actually see it of the color of the eyes of the dog can change. And the worst cases of a dog being stressed over a long period of time is that you can actually smell it. You can smell the stress in the dog. And it's not a good smell. It's a very distinctive smell. Unfortunately, I have smelled that smell. You know exactly that means that something is not right, because it's a very distinctive smell. It's a little bit sweet, actually, if I should describe it. Sour and sweet at the same time. So, as a dog owner, what should you do if you think that your dog is stressed and has any of these problem behaviors? What we do when we help dog owners during our consultations is that we try and find out what causes the problem behavior. And very often it is the stress. Okay? If your dog has pain, your dog is also stressed. If your dog has allergies and is itching a lot, your dog is stressed, because it's just a natural reaction inside the body. When we itch a lot, when you have something wrong with your body and you're itching a lot, you will be stressed. So stress covers a lot of things. So the thing is that you need to try and be a detective and find out what is causing the stress in your dog's life. Is it lack of sleep? Is it a pain issue? Is it too much or too little of something? Like, for example, physical activities. Too much and too little is not good, Is it too much play in the dog park? Is it too little socialization with other dogs? Did you know that a lot of the behavior problems with dogs reacting on walks and being reactive, and they look like they're trying to scare some other dog away, is that it's a lack of socialization. These dogs are absolutely desperate to be with other dogs. So in order for us to help a dog with problem behavior, we have to find a good balance in life, just like with you and me. So When I actually, back in 2010, this happened to me. One day I just could not go to work. I just stared uh, at the walls, and I just couldn't move. There was no way I could go to work. So I called my doctor and I said, I can't go to work today. I think something is wrong with me. Um, and like I said, that's a long story, but it was very closely related to the fact that I had a stroke 4 years later, 4 years earlier. Um, so the doctor was not surprised. She said, actually, that your sick leave documents has been in my drawer for quite a while. I was just waiting for you to understand it yourself, that now we need to sign them. And then I said, do you think it's possible for me to, be off work for about a week, maybe 2 weeks? And she laughed and she said, no, 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 Lisbeth, this is going to take months. And I could not believe it, but it's true. It's absolutely true. And humans, it's not uncommon that you are not working for up to a year if your body is really stressed. And with dogs, it can take up to 9 months. It's not uncommon before the whole stress problem is out of the body. But now, now I'm talking about a long-term stress dog, yeah? And the stress hormones, of course, when we start making the right balance in their life, finding out what the missing pieces, and if it's too much or too little or the wrong kind of mental or physical stimulation, as long as we just find out what that individual dog needs, and we get a balance, and we, of course, we make sure that the dog is not ill, doesn't have any pain issues, nothing like that. When you restore back to basics, back to balance, that's when your body can start healing. So does this make sense to you? And do you have any questions about this? In On one hand, I think it's very logical, everything. It's easy to understand, it's logical. But if you're a dog owner, you are, I don't think, as you haven't, gone deep into the to all of these things about hormones and dog behavior naturally, because that's not in your interest. So maybe you find it a little bit more confusing or hard to understand what to look for. If you do, let me know in the chat. And this is one of the things. So if you wrote to me in the chat now, if you wrote, my dog is barking, in the window a lot, is he stressed? That would have to have a lot of follow-up questions to be able to evaluate that. So yes, you do need some knowledge about this. If you are working with dogs already, if you are interested in this topic of stress in dogs, I can absolutely recommend Dr. Amber Batson. She has sometimes some webinars about it, or even courses. Very useful, where you go deep, deep down into stress behavior and stress. What is stress? That's what our students do in our level 4 when they are studying to be behavior specialists. LJ is writing, learning to help my dog be less stressed has helped me as well. Exactly. It's my same experience, actually. Yeah. Okay. I see there's a lot of people on tonight. I'm so happy that you're interested in stress. So I don't want to give out any numbers because I don't really know, but in my experience, from what I have seen when I've been working full-time and part-time with dogs since 2005, 6, well, for 25 plus years now or something, is that most problem behaviors are caused by stress, and then we need to find out where does this stress come from? Why is the dog stressed? Is it pain related? Is it because of pain? Is it, and it's all about finding the balance. It's not about obedience. That's a whole other thing. That's a dog sports, actually. So telling a stressed dog no, or asking a stressed dog to sit instead of barking or something, it doesn't get rid of the stress, which is the main problem here. And that's why we can do so many amazing things by changing our behavior and making sure the dog has, the right amount of physical and mental stimuli and all of these things, that it's a holistic approach to it. So we don't really have to do any obedience or any training, because when the stress lowers, the barking gets less, the less peeing or stopping peeing inside, even stop being a reactive dog on walks. It's as simple as that. In many cases, I would say in most cases, that's the good news. If you don't wait too long to do something about it, it doesn't take long to fix it. Okay, so Maria is writing, my dog chews when she's stressed. She doesn't understand toys. How can I direct her attention away from cushions, furniture, etc.? So that's a good thing, Maria. Chewing and actually shredding. Shredding is if you have a cardboard box and you put lots of interesting things that is not dangerous for the dog and it's not, of any value to you. So let the dog just rip these things and the paper inside apart. So that's a stress relieving activity. Stress relieving activity is, of course, nose work, any kind of sniffing. So the first thing we should all do, even if your dog does not have a stress related issue, to prevent him from getting it, let your dog sniff on walks. If your dog already has a stress issue, it's even more important that you let your dog sniff and finish sniffing when you're walking. Okay? Chewing and shredding are also stress relieving activities. So in Maria's case, I would find objects that to replace the cushions, furnitures, and so on. The cushions, the furnitures, you have to manage. You have to manage your house. You have to put up baby gates or something to protect your furnitures. There are ways to do that, yeah. And then you have to provide your dog with different chews. It's not only about one chew. Different textures, different sizes, different tastes, smells, and so on. So that's absolutely, and I would provide some shredding opportunities, and I would provide more enriched environments, things you can make at home, set up at home, and go out to new places and discover new smells. Beth is writing, I found when I really dialed back traditional training, Turid did way better out on walks, etc. I think she finds it quite, stressful. Yeah. And that's the thing. So that's why we always talk about a Nordic dog trainer. We say you need to find the activity and the sport, whatever, if you want to do something with your dog, that your dog enjoys. So if you're planning on, if you want to do obedience or agility, right, and you get a puppy because you want to do those activities, it's a little bit like getting a child and hoping that the child will be interested in becoming a policeman or a firefighter or a doctor, whatever. You never know. Okay? So, what you like to do, unfortunately, is not always what your dog loves to do. That's just how it is. Yes, Francois, stress can be in the. So, yes, actually, if the mother is stressed during her pregnancy and birth, then not all of the puppies, but if she gets 8 puppies, maybe 1 or 2 or 7, we don't know, it depends, you know, um, can have a chronic stress in their body already from when they're puppies. But very often, it's what we do, to be honest. So, first, look at yourself, what you do. And it could be something like um, they don't have the right sleeping. If you have one dog bed and you placed it in your house somewhere, you ask your dog to go there and stay on that bed. Maybe it's in an area of the house that your dog is not sleeping as well as in a different area. And maybe you have a kid or 2, 3-year-olds, running around the house. Um, then maybe it's too much for that dog. Maybe that's it. I don't think that you are doing anything wrong all the time. It's not something, that's not the issue here, that we are doing the wrong things. We just have to be aware of these things, and then we have to manage. This is the most number one thing I learned when I got a dog, was to manage my life and my household and everything to accommodate the dog. So we didn't have those problems. Maria is writing she eats paper, spend time as a street dog, so not sure about giving her too much cardboard. Well, we do loads of sniffing walks, etc. Yes. So you do whatever is best for your dog. They are individual dogs. And, street dogs are very clever dogs. They are brave dogs. They have survived being able to think for themselves. And when they come into our homes, we tend to want to protect them. And, instead of, this is something we should do with all our dogs actually, let them use their brains and show us how able they are to make their own best decisions. Oh, that's a whole other Facebook Live actually. That's something, I'm going to write it down because I love talking about it, and it's very important too. Okay. LJ is writing that scent work was a game changer for us. And it is for a lot of people. I tell you seriously, and I just today actually finished making a very short ebook that I'm going to put on our website. It's just a couple of pages where we write down how important it is for our dogs to smell, to sniff during walks. All our students on our level 1 course have one assignment to do, and that is to time how many times and for how long their dogs are sniffing on a particular walk. So we collected data now, and I wrote it down today from the last course. So we have now data from more than 400 walks with 300 and something participants. Altogether 9,359 sniffs. And we have put that data into charts, and it's just very interesting. It's a study that we just do for our own students. We don't we're just accumulating the data, to be honest. It's just very interesting. The thing is that all our students who are doing this assignment, this practical assignment, are being forced to be more aware of how long their dogs sniff when on a walk. And the result is that 57% of the sniffs, this is 5 to 10 seconds. So people say they don't really have time to let the dog sniff when they're walking their dog. The actual The longest any of dogs in that study has sniffed is 6 minutes, and that was one dog. So less than 1% of these dogs are sniffing more than 1 minute when they stop to sniff. And the thing is that when we let them sniff and finish sniffing, because this is so important that they also get to finish sniffing, is making such a big difference. And this is the feedback I get from clients and from course participants all the way back when I was doing puppy courses, adolescent courses, 12 years ago. And it's just the little thing that we do, that we spend maybe 2 minutes more when we're walking our dogs and letting them sniff, the behavior changes is really not in proportion to the little work we have to do for it. So they get less stress, less reactive, less barking, and so on. It's sometimes it sounds like too good to be true, so that's why I say try it. Okay. Rebecca is asking, what do you think about high sensitivity and stress in dogs? That's a very general question, so you need to specify. I don't know what you mean. I mean, I do understand, but I don't really, what is the question? What I think about it. I think that some dogs are more sensitive and some aren't. Dogs are individuals. So, yeah. And Rena is saying that her dog is sniffing a lot longer than 6 minutes. In one place? That's cool. That's a very, very good dog then. They're getting a lot of information. Even my Wilma, which is, a basset hound, which is one of has the most, well, best smelling, abilities in breeds, she doesn't do that for that long. So that's interesting. That's very cool. Angie's writing, I have read that dogs have 5 main needs to be met every day: nose work, digging, shredding, physical exercise, sleeping. I believe this makes much sense. What is your opinion? Yeah, sure. I would, of course, add food and water. Yeah. But I also know that this is individual. We have to start, getting used to the individual thought with dogs, because not every dog has any interest of digging, and some breeds and dogs are more prone to digging. Some dogs are hunting dogs and they love to hunt, and so on. So, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to see if there is a follow-up from Rebecca about this high sensitivity and stress. Yeah, Beth. I was about to say my dog has no interest in digging whatsoever. And there are breed differences. There are, of course, because we have bred our dogs to, to become specialists in different things. But also within a breed, there is also, can be big differences. So a dog is always, first and foremost, an individual. Okay, this is a big topic, so it's already 45 minutes now, and I'm just going to say one last thing. So if you have a dog, any kind of terrier, for example, who is very much used to dig, if they are not able to dig anywhere, that is a huge thing for them. It's a missing link, What can we do? What can we do to substitute that very instinctive behavior for the dog? But to be honest, the right socialization and to be social with other dogs, I think kind of is one of the biggest issues, with biggest and most important things we should think about when it comes to our dogs and ourselves. It's a huge issue today for humans as well. Some of us don't want to socialize. Some people have, there's a lot more anxiety than it used to be with humans as well as dogs, so but again, these are big topics, but it's absolutely worth thinking about. Anyhow, so to summarize, stress, if you have felt stress in your body, you know how your dog feels when it's stressed, because it's the same thing happening inside our bodies. Very, very much the same. We can compare ourselves with dogs. Not all stress, when we talk about stress, it doesn't have to be a negative thing that you are doing something wrong or bad to your dog, but all kinds of things can be stressful for a dog. Too much partying is stressful for a teenager, and too much, social interactions, especially if there are in circumstances your dog don't feel very safe, that can also be stressful for your dog. So as a dog owner, you need to start observing your dog, and if you see any problem behavior, the first thing you should do is actually to see if everything is in balance, nutrition, health wise, and the stress, and so sleep and so on. And try and find out what could be the missing piece in his life, or what you do too much or too little in his life. That, of course, means that you need to know the basics. So, what is a dog and what do they need? Yeah. But it's absolutely useless. Don't waste your money on learning obedience for these kind of problem behaviors. You're not doing anything for, you're not doing anything to change the behavior. You're just putting a lid on the behavior. The dog is still stressed. So if you teach your dog to sit whenever he's barking, or if you scold your dog for peeing inside, you don't do anything with the problem. You don't fix the problem. You make it worse, because it will come out in some form or another. So if your dog is not allowed to bark, maybe it starts growling or digging or chewing the furnitures, Yeah, okay. Angie's saying, it was a game changer for me to know chases. It helped to test alternatives to understand what really works for my dog. In my case, providing my dog with a private safe space in the house where he can retreat and come to peace was a big game changer. Same as sniffing and chewing. It's a journey and a way to understand which needs your dog need to be met to live a balanced life. Very true. So here it's, we're talking about maybe changing the bed or adding a couple of more beds or sleeping areas for your dog, and providing with different kind of activities than you are doing now. It's not about doing nothing with your dog. It's about doing the right things for your dog. Actually, when we are stressed, one here in Norway, they call it kind of a prescription from the doctor. They what do they call it? They call it a green prescription, health-wise, that going for walks, being physically active as a human, is always good, when we're ill, and especially if your body is stressed. You're not supposed to lay in your bed and do nothing. No, the best thing for you is to go for nice walks. Yeah. So it's about what we do. It's not about stopping to do things with our dogs. Okay. almost 50 minutes now. I'm trying to keep these lives to 30 minutes, but today I had a lot on my mind. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you for your comments and questions. I like these sessions because I feel that it's very interactive and I actually meet you the way we meet online. So I'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock Central European Time. Soon, sometime I think in March, we are changing to summertime here in Europe. We haven't done that yet, so if you're in a different time zone, you need to see. Okay, I know Wilma is quite cute. Wilma is 11 years old in May, so she's getting an old lady now. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening, a stress-free evening, and a stress-free week. Bye.